What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talk on the Tundra, your Green Bay Packers podcast as a proud partner of the Eurostep Podcast Network and the Blue Wire family. As always, I'm your host, Numac, coming to you with the latest and greatest from Packers training camp, as well as will Terry McLaurin or Micah Parsons be a Packer come the beginning of the season? We're going to discuss that in a couple minutes here, but to join me is my lovely co-host, Jordan Tresky. Jordan, how are you doing, buddy?
Doing well.
Good.
It's a little smoky outside.
Yeah, it's a little smoky. I've heard that they're starting the wildfires to help dim the sun.
I've
I've
heard the
I've
same.
heard that's a rumor going around. Uh,
Inside
I'd
joke.
love
I
to
don't know
be.
why I said. I don't know why I sang that to the GI Joe theme song, but that kind of worked.
It kind of worked. Um, so let's start off with the news of the week. Terry McLaurin, Terry McLaurin, Washington Commanders wide receiver, demands a trade after the Commanders obviously won't extend his current contract, and he's looking for pretty top dollar receiver money after doing years of being a company man, playing with bad quarterbacks, and just kind of being the franchise player. Micah Parsons also demands a trade from the Dallas Cowboys as the Jones family is having some, I'd say, shady negotiations with him and not David Mulgeta, his agent. And so after I think 2 straight years of trying to get an extension done, and no response from the Cowboys, and I think Mulgeta advised Parsons not to just to get more money, etc. But then he said he doesn't want more money, he wants to be a Cowboy. Uh, the Jones family's like, no, we're not going to talk to your agent. We're just going to talk with you. That's not how that works. So Michael Parsons has demanded a trade from the Cowboys. Coincidentally and happily enough, these are two players at positions of need coming into the offseason for the Packers at wide receiver and edge rusher. Edge rusher is obviously the more focused need right now. I think they kind of addressed it with Matthew Golden and Savion Williams in the draft at wide receiver, plus the glut of receivers it is have in that room anyways. But let's start with Terry since he was the first one. We'll start chronologically. Jordan, what is your appetite, and ultimately, do you think Terry McLaurin gets traded from the Commanders?
I don't think he gets traded. Um, for one, I just think that one seems the Micah Parsons thing is kind of like of its own. There's a lot more there.
Yeah, there's two different like trade requests. Like they're kind of two different reasonings behind it. The
Yes,
Cowboys want to pay Micah, just not talk to his agent about it
they're doing what they did this
with
with
Dak and
CD,
CD and right.
Dak. Um, I'm forgetting another. Like we probably even go back further and further of like
I think Demarco Murray.
Ezekiel Elliott too.
I think Demarco Murray
Like,
was the same way.
yep.
But
It's old school
yeah,
kind of like line in the sand. This is how we negotiate
yeah.
landman style, Jerry Jones style. The Commanders, on the other hand, I believe I'm looking on over the cap right now. They eat probably. I think they have the biggest money like off season, and it shows because they traded for Laramie Tunsil.
Yep.
They signed a lot of their own free agents, including some other kind of big names I'm forgetting as I'm trying to make this point. They've invested a lot into maintaining the roster after going to the conference championship last year.
Yep.
Terry McLaurin is rightfully looking around and be like, "Hey, where's my money?"
Right.
And I think that's a lot more salvageable than what has emerged from Dallas or wherever they're training, because I don't think it's in Dallas technically.
No,
But
they train in California for like the first 3 weeks.
and the other thing too is that Terry McLaurin is 29 years old. He's been. It's not like he's been around the
He
block.
turns 30 in a month.
Yeah, so he's gonna be on the the age curve is not so great in terms of that, but still a very productive player. At the very least, you're still gonna get probably 2, 3 seasons worth of like
Right.
prime production from him. That I just think it's gonna be. tough for a team like the Packers to kind of worm their way in there and pry him out of Washington when he's holding in. Correct?
I believe
He
so.
he was a holdout and then came back to camp, which obviously signals some kind of, you know, I don't know what you want to call reconciliation could be close
Yeah.
if the two sides are close to
I
doing
I
that.
think he just mainly doesn't want to get fined because
That too,
like
because
that.
it's money.
Yeah.
I would say as much as the wide receiver one discussion will probably be a discussion until someone emerges that asserts themselves as a number one wide receiver. Terry McLaurin kind of feels like something that they shouldn't do at this point, um, because of I just don't think they have the great amount of assets that they can turn over to Washington that they can be like, this is our best offer, and they're going to be able to get Terry McLaurin.
He's probably gettable for a third or fourth. Like that's kind of like the going rate for receivers that are not
That's true.
26. And so he turns 30 in a month. He's still good. Like I think he's still a productive player, but I think what the issue is you have to trade for him and then pay him. So like that is the difference between like him going for a second. If he's under contract for like the next 3 years already, he'd probably be go for maybe higher if he's younger. All of that is to say, I'm with you. I don't think they should trade for him. I think he'd be if you could get him for a seventh round pick and pay him an extension. I think that's fine. But like that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And you just drafted Matthew Golden, who's showing out in camp, and you have all these other mouths you need to feed before extension time for Romeo Dobbs and Christian Watson and Jane Reed next year. So it's like I just don't think they need to add a receiver to the mix at this point. Like if this had happened pre-draft, I'd be about it. But I think it's just too late in the game to do it now. Then I just don't think they'd want to pay Terry
That's
McLaurin that
it's
contract anyways.
yeah. I think that's more of we DK Metcalf was, I would argue, was a way more available wide receiver,
Yeah.
and we knew of what the Packers were trying to offer to get him, and it didn't hit what the Seahawks were looking for. I don't think. I think Terry McLaurin is closer to DK Metcalf than probably people think, but
In terms of talent
again,
or in
in
terms
terms
of
of talent
price.
and like, I don't think
I don't
Price.
think price either. I think talent it's I'd say fairly close. I think DK is better. But yeah, they're in the
and
same
these
tier, I think.
and these situations are quarterback dependent because Terry McLaurin, as you mentioned, by and large has had terrible quarterbacks until Jaden Daniels came along.
Right. And I think like that's my biggest like not gripe, but like I am on Terry McLaurin's side here that he
They traded
was
for Debo.
right. They traded for Debo and he was a good steward of the franchise for I think he's been in the league like 6 years now, however long it's been. But like he only played with bad quarterbacks his entire career, and then he has a good quarterback in Jane Daniels, and he pops off last year. It's like, why don't you
Yeah,
just pay the man?
it's
Like
insane.
Jaden Daniels is on a rookie deal. Like they have probably money to spend, and just to make their team better. And he's like, Terry McLaurin will be there this year if he doesn't hold out. But just very curious that the Commanders are like, no, we're not going to play one of our franchise players that's been a good player for us for the past half decade.
I'm looking up now. Washington, they're not as high as I thought they were in terms of like overall spending, but they did a lot of moves that like they didn't renegotiate. I thought they had extended Debo Samuel, but they're basically doing a flyer with him. Larry Tunsil,
Right.
big money contract for a big name offensive lineman,
Which
but
they
they
needed,
didn't.
yeah.
Yeah, which they needed, but they did a lot of like moves to make sure that this isn't like a 1 year pop and then they kind of fade. I just don't know why they would, unless if, again, we don't know particulars, we don't know financials, like the posturing from Washington's side when they've made clear investments and traded away a lot of draft picks, traded a lot away or lost some players in order to gain better talent.
Yeah,
Why are you doing that with your number one wide receiver?
it's a great question. It's a great question. In a very similar way, why do the Cowboys hate extending their star players? Why is the Micah Parsons deal gonna come at like September 1st or like the Wednesday before the season starts? And they'll pay top dollar for him. They'll probably exceed Myles Garrett's contract or TJ Watt's contract
Yeah.
because that's just how this works with the Cowboys. They dig themselves into the hole um, to not play their stars and then pay premium price for it because they have to. But in the event that that doesn't happen, Jordan, and in the event that Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones want to trade Micah, which I don't think they will, is a caveat to this conversation. Are you interested in Micah Parsons?
I'm interested in Micah Parsons.
I'm very interested in Micah Parsons.
That's like asking, would you want Lawrence Taylor? Like this is it's that level of
You
player.
mean the guy
You know what
that's
I mean?
on the committee for Trump to make all the kids healthy again?
Shit. God, I didn't
that
know that.
that same Lawrence Taylor. Oh, I forgot. You've been offline lately. You've been you've been on your book promo tour. That's all you touch social media for,
Yeah.
and rightfully so. It's a hellscape. Regardless, yes, Micah Parsons, the one of the top young edge rushers in the league.
Also, we knew that this was coming.
Yeah,
The moment, like, say what you will about NFL insiders and how they transmit their information because 99.9% of the time it's used to leverage other clients or other players. But when Miles Garrett asked out of Cleveland, everybody was looking at this situation as, well, this will be the baseline for what TJ Watt and Micah Parsons want. TJ Watt got extended after after the Miles Garrett, reconciliation between player and team. And then everybody was like, well, Micah Parsons is up and he's going to get the next, big money, best, most lucrative deal that isn't for a quarterback type deal. And yet the Cowboys are doing what I shouldn't say the Cowboys, even though Jerry Jones is the Cowboys in a
yeah.
lot of ways. It's not surprising that this is happening. It's just like, why do you choose to keep doing this the way that they do it?
It's the how many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? Meme from
Truly.
SpongeBob. And
Yeah.
the problem is that Jerry Jones is 82 years old. Like he should not be making football decisions. And like people will point to like, yeah, Stephen Jones is the GM. No, he's not. He might be in title. He's not in practice.
His last name is Jones.
Yeah,
Who's his dad?
who's his dad? And so who's his daddy?
Yeah.
um, but part of me like wonders like the Miles Garrett asking out was a difference in view of where the team was headed. Like that is a future Hall of Famer, like top edge rusher in the league, wanting to win a Super Bowl when he came out and said he wanted to get traded. Money fixes all those problems for him. He's never good. He might not make the playoffs ever again as a Cleveland Brown, and so he might just have that might just be his career, and that's perfectly fine if that's what he wants to do. Micah Parsons is like 25 years old and just like one of the top edge rushers in the league and wanted to be a Cowboy. Like he said in his pictures on Twitter that he,
His notes app
yeah, his notes app,
screenshots.
right, that he wanted to be a Cowboy. And so, like even going back to like 2023 when he's extension eligible, they wanted to get something done. And I don't think he cares about all the money, at least according to his screenshots. He doesn't care about being the top paid edge rusher because that's why he was willing to do a deal earlier was to be a Cowboy longer. And so I don't know if Jerry is burned by giving Dak his big contract and then he got hurt, and then giving CD his big contract and he had a slow year last year by CD standards. I don't know. All that is to say is that I want Brian Gutekunst texting Jerry Jones' hospice nurse like every day with trade ideas. And I think like if I'm Goody, I'm throwing two first. I said on Twitter, my deal for Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons is two firsts and Romeo Dobbs. And I think it was Zach Jacobson said uh, two firsts and Rasheed Walker. I'm like, that would work too. Like the Cowboys just lost their
How
luck.
about both?
Sure.
Like, I mean, that I don't think there is a shortage of players when someone like this is this disgruntled and the door is open that he might be movable. I would counter with the fact that do I think that he's going to get moved? No, I think
I
we've said
yeah.
as much too.
I thought I yeah, I don't think the Cowboys want to trade him. And he's under contract for this
No,
year and then you can do 2 years of franchise tags. Like I just don't think there's a reality in which Micah Parsons isn't a Cowboy for the next 5 years.
it is just one of those things where someone of his caliber who has been so good and was good from the moment that he came into the league, you do that like objective view of like the players that you for if we're putting on our GM hat and trying to be more scientific about it, you have to look at like, do we have anybody on the caliber of Micah Parsons' ability? It's no, it really they
It's
don't.
it's
Like I,
on it's Jordan Love and like maybe Xavier McKinney
I think Xavier McKinney is closer to being one of the best at his
position.
position than Jordan Love is, and I think
Yes.
that's a commentary on
How
the
good
top
quarterbacks are.
quarterbacks are
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, like when someone like that becomes wants to get out, and again, it's negotiating, leveraging. It's also very important to note amid everything going on with the NFL Players Association, which we all should be following
Go listen to
because
Pablo Torre if you haven't.
it is insane. It is insane to just the lever. Like people are going to go to jail
Yeah.
because of the level of fraud, the level of schmuckery that's going on.
Schmuckery.
JC Treader is a legitimate, like, terrible person. Terrible person. Anyway,
Schmuckery.
it is worth noting the agent
Yeah.
of Micah Parsons, David Mulgeta,
Yeah. Also Jordan Love's agent.
Jordan Love's agent. But to the end of this, he negotiated Deshaun Watson's contract with the Browns.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's not a coincidence that Jerry Jones is trying all the shenanigans of trying to negotiate to
Micah.
Parsons directly without the agent present.
Yeah.
The guy that handed out the only guaranteed contract that will ever be given in the NFL. Um, it's not a surprise that it
No.
is this has gone sideways and is explosive. It is just for me. We complain about the Cowboys being talked about as like the ESPN SEO team of like it's May and they're talking about the Cowboys because someone needs a contract or Jerry Jones says something or whatever. They're that team. They're the Lakers in the NBA. They are the Yankees in the MLB.
Yep.
I don't know what it'd be for hockey, but I don't think there is a team
The
that is like that.
Penguins, but it's not like as
Yeah, yeah.
as bad.
But it is just like at a certain point, bad press is bad press. Just being
Not in
talked
Jerry's
about,
mind. He loves being talked about. He loves it. That's
and it
why he does.
mirrors a lot of
He's
things in just how the world works, I guess now.
yeah.
But it is just insane to me that like this is not our first rodeo, quite literally, with all this stuff. And yet why do you why do you want to keep doing things where you have to negotiate at top dollar and then when these players sign they don't live up to their contracts or yada yada yada. Like I think Diana Rossini of the Athletic, she's had something this morning about the top three teams that always like negotiate with their own free agents before and like are ahead of the curve of like when someone's about to go to market or kind of neutralizing this kind of situation. It was the Eagles, it was Texans, and it was the Rams. of like they know how to nurture their own talent, and then when it comes time to paying them, they pay them before they hit the free market. The Cowboys have routinely done the opposite. It truly is like they're building it 1 year at a time, and it the foresight of like the insanity of just doing this over and over and over again is just insane. They
Hmm.
did you know that they only won 2 playoff games in the last 10 years?
Yeah, doesn't surprise me whatsoever. But like they,
It
they,
doesn't surprise me, but it is just like when it's spelled out like that. And granted, the Packers got the better of them at least one of those years.
I think it's both. Because is it 2016
Oh yeah,
the Jared Cook year,
the
the Mason
the
Crosby?
Jared Cook year would have been that one,
I think it's around there.
and then but the other one was the wild card game
Right, that's what
with
I'm.
Jordan Love.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, oh yeah, 'cause I see my bad. I had was mixing up the point, but yes, the they just haven't been successful. They haven't been to the championship game in nine or since like the mid '90s,
I think it was yeah. I
93,
don't, they
94, whenever the last time they won
their
the Super
lesser rule is
Bowl.
95.
Yeah, so I think that was the last time they've been to a NFC championship game, and I think like that's kind of just emblematic of Jerry Jones' ownership. He's just it's not been good. And I think they've had good teams, always competitive, but they just make it so hard on themselves. And so, like I said, if I'm Goody, I'm spam calling Jerry Jones until
Yeah,
he's finally sick of it and just says, "Yeah, take him." Because if Micah Parsons is a Green Bay Packer, this team is a Super Bowl contender, like
yeah.
immediately, because you have one of the best edge rushers in the league going towards the quarterback. It alleviates the burden of Rashawn Gary and Lucas Van Ness and the rest of the edge rushers. The if Micah Parsons is successful and does good things, it covers up a little bit of the cornerback room and the quote unquote lack of talent is I don't know why quote unquote I said it. I don't know why I did that. Regardless, the perceived lack of
They
talent.
keep saying talk about this lack of talent.
Right. They keep saying about this lack of talent. But like obviously they don't have a star at cornerback. But
Yeah,
like it can help take the burden off the secondary. Mix in second year Edwin Cooper. Like this defense would be a dog with Micah Parsons. It's a pie in the sky dream. But I think if you're Goody, you trade a few firsts, two, three firsts for him. Two is fine. Three is probably getting to be a little pricey. Like two, 'cause I think like the Khalil Mack trade was like two firsts, a third, and a six or something. Um, but if you give him two firsts, 20 for 26, 27, you just drafted Jordan Morgan and Anthony Belton. You don't really need a lineman in these next two drafts. You can get one in the second and third round,
hopefully.
hopefully. And then if you have Micah Parsons under contract for the next few years, you don't need an edge rusher, which is like another position of like a first round position usually. Don't need a quarterback. You have Jordan Love. You don't need any of these premium positions that are often there in the first round. Like they've kind of set themselves up to really benefit from getting Parsons and not having a large downfall of the lack of first for the next 2 years. Then come 2028, you can draft a lineman, draft another edge rusher for Sean Gary's contract isn't picked up for a third one, etc. So that's my thought, and I'm sure he's well aware of that and is trying his hardest to do so. I would hope so, but golly, would it be fun?
Yeah, I mean it. I think these are the moments. It doesn't come very often. Khalil Mack is probably it's a good comp.
Probably the last one.
It's probably the last most recent one, like of like a team, two teams that would be in similar situations. It's not like a Bears Panthers trading DJ Moore for the you know what I mean like that level of um kind of I guess transaction. But these are the moments why you keep the powder dry and then you're willing to like, all right, we can pay a premium for someone that we think is going to be worth a hell of a lot to our team and thin out depth, which we talk about having kind of like spreading it around as much as they can.
Right.
But what were we talking about at the end of last year? Of like they had options. They didn't necessarily have the best of both worlds of like options lead to better talent and like top tier talent. And the whole kind of I guess this the discussion of the offseason, especially around the draft, when that is the Packers' best way to get better, is that the avenues to get elite talent are not many for this team.
Right.
So when a Micah Parsons is like, I might want out, or not, I might want out,
I
I
want
want
out.
out, that's when you kind of have to like, just here's our entire arsenal. We're willing to be flexible. It's not the best negotiating tactic, but it's like you're not. When was Khalil Mack traded? That was 7 years ago.
Yeah, it was 2018.
So one out of every 7 seasons, 6, 7 seasons, like
Right.
that's that's a generation of roster building
Right.
in the NFL.
It would be the biggest trade I think in Packers history.
Without the Favre one wouldn't. It
But
only
they're different.
measures up because of how he eventually became
Correct.
in terms of like star level
Right. In
arrival.
terms of acquiring talent, it's the biggest trade they would have in their history, which is saying something. So, Goody, get it done. I want to pod about Micah Parsons being a Packer. That's all I want to do with my life right now. Um, Alrighty, let's move on to some updates from camp. Just general themes, some standouts. I guess first and foremost, let's talk Matthew Golden, Jordan. Matthew Golden is making a lot of people's eyebrows raise at camp. I'm not sure if you've seen camp videos, which again, they're camp videos. You can take them as you may, but he looks really good. He looks real fast.
Yeah,
Real fast and real good at finding the ball in the air. So I don't know if they did it, but they might be looking like they done did it.
it's good. I like hearing that. I mean, I'm not trying. We talked about this privately. I'm going to be a little bit more skeptical with camp updates this year because last year was all about Braden Narvison, Anders Carlson, Anders. Put the long A on there. Um, and the kicking updates, which are still existing with Brandon McManus. But a couple years before that was about Romeo Dobbs and like how the Packers found their next number one wide receiver after Devontae Adams. I'm trying to keep a level head with camp updates,
Yeah,
and it's August 2nd.
yeah,
It is good to see Matthew Golden hitting the ground running, literally,
right.
and a clear chemistry developing between him and Jordan Love because that's all. That's the name of the game right now.
Yeah, and I think like that's just the biggest thing. Is they look like they're kind of already on the same page ish. I know Jordan Love has had a lot of good things to say about Matthew Golden in like post practice, like media scrums and things like that. I'm excited. He looks like he looks like he belongs right away. And I think like the couple of uh contraband footage from the stands from fans of Matthew Golden absolutely cooking Keyshawn Nixon on like every rep inspires me. Like he's really twitchy, can create separation pretty easily, and I'm very very excited for week 1. I just want to see how he plays because I think it's going to be very special.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you been following the Nazir Stackhouse storylines?
So I was on vacation when pretty much camp started,
Yep.
and then I come back to see all these updates, and I'm like, who the hell is this Stackhouse dude?
Yeah. So undrafted free agent, signs with the Packers. He almost signed with the
D lineman,
Falcons.
right?
Yep, a D lineman. From Georgia. Like went to Georgia. Um,
Packers have and notable because the
have
Packers have been obsessed with Georgia
like every NFL
very
team, like
recently.
the Eagles and everybody else. They're a good program, so they have a lot of good players right now. Um, was going to sign with the Falcons because he's from Georgia, went to Georgia, and just stayed close to home. The reason he was an undrafted free agent, not because of lack of talent, because he's very talented, is that he has narcolepsy. And so, yeah, for
What?
for audio listeners, Jordan was aghast. Yeah, he has narcolepsy, and so uh, he would sometimes fall asleep during games at Georgia. Like he'd be on the bench and he'd just kind of knock off for a bit. But uh, he comes to Green Bay. They offer him a contract, and they have figured out a medication like plan for him to where his narcolepsy isn't a problem for him anymore, at least during games. Bill Huber wrote
Wow.
a really good article on him for Sports Illustrated. But so go read that. Like go read Billy Huber's feature on him. But he talked about how like he doesn't drive anymore. Like he just kind of Ubers places. If he does need to drive, he can, but he like doesn't want to take the risk kind of thing. But like
Jesus.
yeah, he's engaged. He said like at Georgia they would kind of like they weren't engaging him as much as he like needed to be. And the Packers have like dialed it in. And as such, they've seemingly found a pretty damn good player. He was like making reporters like eyes go wide during like drills and during like when he was getting reps with like the second, third, and fourth string teams, and they eventually asked him about him. Like the Matt LaFleur said he was playing well. He's like at some point he's gonna have to have reps with the ones to see what he can do against our guys. And sure enough, I think
Was it Friday? Yeah.
Friday afternoon he got reps with the ones. So Azir Stackhouse, congratulations, buddy! You are officially Numac's undrafted free agent favorite of the camp.
Stay woke.
That's right. Shut up, God. But yeah,
Now, to not divert into narcolepsy corner here.
hmm
So this is my. I did not anticipate. I did. Holy cow!
yeah,
This is my pea brain understanding of narcolepsy.
yeah,
So I invite anybody to laugh at me for if this is how I interpret it. Isn't it when you have narcolepsy is like if you're in like darkness, you could just fall asleep at
no,
any moment.
no. Uh,
That's how it would be conveyed on like cartoons,
correct.
which is a terrible way to understand the world.
So, um, Stackhouse talked about it in Bill Huber's article. Narcolepsy is uh dozing off every now and then. Like you just get tired and you fall asleep, but you like know it's coming. He said he's
You
want
know it's coming.
you can feel it. Like you're like, oh, I'm getting tired. Like I'm gonna fall asleep. Like
I'm gonna have to read this. Holy cow!
yeah, it's really good. But then he said he wants to be an inspiration for people because it's a disease and you can't really fix it. He
Yeah.
said he met a girl with cataplexy, and that's where you just like
What's that?
it's where like you just fall asleep. Like if I'm just talking to you, just
Oh, like
and it just knock
truly lights out.
lights
Like
out like you fainted, but you just fall asleep.
that's that's crazy.
So, but yeah, they I guess from what Stackhouse said in the article is that like the Packers have figured out a medication for him that works for him, and he doesn't really have like that issue anymore. Like he still has to deal with it, but he's awake and alert, and he's performing better than you'd anticipate with somebody with narcolepsy.
Yeah. Was there has there I mean this might be topic for a future pod or an update. Um yeah, that is insane. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the so
Josh
yeah,
Andrews.
he said the Packers have appear to have had it under control with what he called quote a type of Adderall that needed approval from the league. So they figured out a dosage of that, and he's got it going.
Josh Andrews was I think he's still in the league from what I'm seeing. Or he was former. He's former.
Who is that?
He was an NFL offensive guard. He played for the Eagles, Vikings, Saints, um, among other teams, but he also had narcolepsy.
Yeah, I don't think this is a new thing. Like I think kind of teams have had to mitigate this across pro sports for a few years. not a
Yeah.
few years, a while since like it's been a thing. But I think like it's becoming more normal that if a player does have narcolepsy, it's not like a career-ending thing. Like they can still get it under control and have a career kind of thing. But like impact on like football, if Nazir Sackhouse can be a dominant D tackle, like in this lineup where Kenny Clark is aging, hopefully he's healthier this year and has a bounce back year. We're waiting on Devonta Wyatt's breakout. Like Carl Brooks, Colby
Carl Brooks,
Wooden
Colby
are still
Wooden.
still need to break out. But if Nazir Sackhouse can like be that guy and coming in as a rookie and go against the ones like he was going to, like he probably isn't going to get like ones reps in season. But I think same way that like Brenton Cox Jr. was a few years ago, you saw him light it up in camp, and it's like, oh, he can really do it, kind of thing. If Nazir Stackhouse is building success this season as a rookie, and then next year is just that guy, I think that does wonders for their projection as a unit up front.
Yeah, I mean, this is part of their pipeline. They've had an undrafted free agent on the roster, I believe, 16 seasons straight, like going into week one. I mean, even a couple years ago, it was like Malik Heath, Brandon Cox Jr., Mayo Wilson. Like,
Yeah,
again, a young, developing roster at that time compared to what we are hoping it will be this year. But it's just the pipeline. And if you could find someone with someone's talent like Stackhouse, that it's not like what Brendan Cox Jr. prevented him from being drafted or landing with a team earlier. Um, but it is still like you need to invest in these players, even if it is an undrafted free agent, because I mean that it is truly life changing that it could be something like that. That it's already having that much of an effect, and he's been on the team for what 4 months, 5 months.
yeah,
That's just
it's nuts.
bananas,
It's
bananas.
nuts. um, let's keep it going with camp. Some sort of themes that I've been seeing throughout camp. I think
Ball
the
King,
ball king, the defense really emphasizing physicality and trying to get as many fumbles as they can. Jeff Halfley said in a press conference earlier this week that they did really good intercepting the ball last year, but they didn't have a lot of forced fumbles, which is like they just need to balance that out, kind of thing. Put the ball on the ground and don't rely on poor passes or poor quarterback play to generate turnovers. Like that's a big thing because interceptions are obviously one one way to get a turnover, right? Picking a
yeah,
ball off in the air. Forcing fumbles can happen on every single play. And I think with the Packers' lack of rushing defense over the last few years, we haven't had this conversation before, but if they can be a better unit against the rush and be forcing fumbles, I think this makes that defense a lot scarier.
I mean, what was oh, the last year that Joe Barry was in town? That defense was middle of the road, but they didn't have any takeaways. It was very little. Um, Again, a different defense, but it just shows how much of an emphasis that they're trying to build and trying to, turnovers are the great neutralizers, and you can't predict year over year success. But the Packers are they were getting there in terms of Xavier McKinney obviously came out of the gate with what five,
For
6 straight games,
yeah, something like that.
and then it kind of came back. It did not kind of. It came
It
back
came
down
back
to
down to
earth.
earth. Yeah,
But as I keep mentioning, and I think you've said it too, it's like the defense itself got better as the year went along,
yep.
even if the turnovers weren't there. You know what I mean? They were just more like stopping drives outside of scoring position. So
And Jeff Halfley like said as much too. He goes like, "Yeah, we got better as the year went on last year, but we just didn't generate as many turnovers as the year went on. Like we were
which became a bigger problem because the offense was sputtering and
right,
yada yada
exactly,
yada.
exactly.
So it's all part of this kind of pie that you have to put in the right ingredients and hope it comes out. You know what I mean?
I do. I was just surprised at the analogy you made. It made sense, but I just laughed at.
Ah,
Eh?
pie. Um, you don't want a little too much baking powder, but you forgot the baking soda. That's the interceptions right now.
Correct. I don't think you'd use both, but I will not correct you.
You never know.
Never know. Uh on the flip side of that, uh the offense has had a lot of fumbles this training camp, and I think Tucker Craft had some
Isn't
context to
that
that.
the crazy thing? Is that they're emphasizing ball king and forcing turnovers? Who are they forcing those turnovers on?
Yeah, they're
Packers offense.
yeah, and I think to Tucker Craft's point that they are restricted in what they can do versus what the defense can do. Because like Tucker Craft mentioned, like he can't stiff arm in practice like that. He's just not allowed to do that.
And Nate Hobbs is like, I can take you out.
We'll talk about that in a minute. Um, but like the defense can pound away on the ball for a few extra seconds as they just like run out the play. Not something that they can
Will not be like this in the season.
correct. And so maybe that's just a bit exaggerated, but I would like to see less reports of guys putting the ball on the ground because that makes me a little nervous. Even though like we have evidence that like Josh Jacobs doesn't really fumble the ball a whole lot, that Tucker Craft doesn't really fumble the ball a whole lot, but like it's a trend that I would rather just kind of nip in the bud now versus get to week one. It's like, oh, why is the ball on the ground?
Yeah.
So, uh, yeah, let's talk Nate Hobbs. It's not like we have this long conversation, but I think the biggest thing, like the bigger conversation, is the defense wanting to be more physical. And I think that increased physicality is embodied by Nate Hobbs. What's today? Saturday. That this past Sunday, Matt LaFleur talked to Nate Hobbs and asked him to tone it down. Don't be so like take the physicality down a notch. And then either the next day, I think it was
It was
Monday.
literally the next day.
Yeah, um, Nate Hobbs tackles Marshawn Lloyd a little harder than people expected him to do so. Marshawn Lloyd suffers a groin injury and is out for a little bit. Worth noting in context that the team said that Marshawn Lloyd had a groin injury prior to that tackle, so it wasn't like Nate Hobbs' fault. But I'm sure the way he tackled them, we didn't see it. Obviously, not a lot of people saw it. Only people that were at camp saw it. Even then, not everybody probably did. Regardless, the way he got tackled caused a skirmish. Rasheed Walker kind of got in his face, and like I said, obviously suffered an injury, not great. But I mean, I'm for it. I'd rather have to ask him to tone it down than to have to ask him to pick it up. Because come week one, when they need to be ready, Nate Hobbs is going to be ready. He seems like a guy that's got a fire lit under his bottom and is pretty ready to go hit somebody, which is what a defense needs to do. And they've had guys like that in the past. I don't know who I'd say is the most physical guy on the team right now. Like a guy that's gonna pin his ears back and go. I just don't know if they have one of those guys right now. And if Nate Hobbs is gonna be that guy at the slot corner, then so be it.
I think this is a good question of the LaFleur era. I can't really think of the last like physical defender.
Right.
Maybe Quay Walker, but that's not for good reasons.
Sure. I think like maybe Quay, but he's not consistently Quay.
No, and it's not in a. I mean, Jair wasn't just big enough. That's part of the thing too. Is that he was 5'11" and was a corner, an outside corner. They haven't. They don't. They're the biggest thing I think that the Packers have been trying to address, whether it's through the draft or whether it's through bringing Jeff Hafley and what he wants to institute into his players, is that the physicality has been lacking. You know what I mean? You feel it in the linebacker room and how much they've reshaped that. Certainly in the front four, but now with the secondary, bringing someone like Nate Hobbs in, who's kind of come in and he said all the right things.
Mm-hmm.
He's talked about the Packers tradition, yada yada yada. Like it's a better problem to have when it versus if it just wasn't there to begin with because it's
Exactly.
football. It's
Exactly.
physicality is so ingrained into the sport that you need some guys that the line fluctuates depending on how they see it.
Right. I think like they if they just become more physical, the fumbles come, right? Just hit guys harder, hopefully more responsibly, not just put your head down and go kind of thing.
One, it's
But
ball tracking too.
right. So, yeah, I'm all about it. I'm glad that that is a point of emphasis for Jeff Hadley and the team this year because I think they can definitely benefit from it.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to find the the latest injury update. I think Rob Dombrowski tweeted one yesterday because there was a bit of a litany of them. Uh, Nate Hobbs had a knee injury. He didn't practice on Friday. Neither did Travis Glover, Kamal Hayden, Jaden Reed had a toe injury. Aaron Mosby and Rasheed Walker um, have groin injuries, and then Dante McWicks has a calf injury. He's still nursing. And then Emmanuel Wilson went down during that game or during that practice with an injury, but he walked off the field, so that was better. Um, and yeah, he ended up. I was right. Nazir Stackhouse did get snaps with the ones on Friday. So, but injuries piling up a little bit. It's obviously still early in camp, but I'd like to see these guys stay healthy. Obviously, like we said, Marshawn Lloyd is bad and banged up. So, Chris Brooks and Josh Jacobs gonna get time at family night tonight. But other than that, you hope to see that hopefully those guys are don't have long term injuries. I think Emmanuel Wilson's injury live looked worse from what reporters were saying, but if he walked away on his own, that's encouraging news. But I haven't seen anything since, so hopefully it's nothing significant.
Yeah.
Quay's working his way back. He still hasn't done team practices yet, but he's doing drills and slowly but surely getting his way back. I saw EJ was was doing some drills. I don't think he's with the
You had
team.
some thoughts on him, I believe.
I
Didn't you?
did. Yeah. The idea that I guess no. Oh yeah, I put up my little short on YouTube. That's also subscribe to the YouTube, folks.
Mm-hmm.
If you're listening to this on Spotify, wherever your podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, go over to the YouTube Talk of the Tundra and subscribe it there. We detached ourselves from the Eurostep Podcast Network YouTube. We're still part of the Eurostep Podcast Network, obviously, but just from their YouTube channel, so that channel can focus on Bucks, we can focus on Packers and things like that. So go subscribe. We would be very appreciative. But yeah, when camp started last week, I had thoughts of like, oh, uh is EJ actually holding in for a new contract, or is he actually injured? Because like it could be the company line kind of thing, and that Goody didn't want to say that they're working through a deal or working on a new deal, and EJ didn't want to say it either, etc. Like that's I wouldn't have had a problem with that, but turns out he is. He's back and now practicing, like not with the team, but doing drills. And EJ had some comments about the shift to center that I thought were really encouraging. That the team went
Mm-hmm.
to EJ earlier last this past offseason and floated the idea of moving to center. Uh, and he initially said he wasn't sure he wanted to do it. And then they talked about it again later in the offseason, and he was 100% bought in. And he said, like, he had always thought about shifting to center sometime in his career. And so part of that in me is like, okay, is this just good media training and trying not to cause, like, make waves in the locker room and just kind of put your head down and do work? Or is he actually, like, passionate about playing center? Like, he's had experience doing it before. And if it's the latter, I think there is a unique opportunity for him to really extend his career with the Packers and get that elusive third contract and maybe like a fourth if it goes really well.
Mm-hmm.
Because shifting him to center, he he's the most experienced lineman on the O line, right? He
Yeah.
knows he's been in the league the longest. He's the most talented. He just is the best lineman on the line. To have that skill shift to center, where now you're partially responsible for calling out coverages and showing like pointing out blitzers and things like that. I think that has an opportunity for him to be a really really good center because he has all of the knowledge to recognize all the coverages that need to be pointed out for the younger guys like Anthony Belton or for Jordan Morgan next to him. And so I think like if he can be a commander of the line at center, I think I think there's a really good opportunity for this line to be very very good for the sole purpose of they have a veteran, knowledgeable center calling out stuff everyone needs to look for. Like that helps the learning curve with Anthony Belton. That helps the learning curve with Jordan Morgan and all the other linemen behind them. Like I think if he is truly bought in, and like I said, I'm optimistic he is because we don't know EJ to be anything other than a team player. But like it makes me very excited at the idea that this is what this looks like.
Yeah, it is very um optimistic, but to your point, like he's the most proven, most experienced. He's obviously been there. If he's not the longest tenured Packer, he's second or third behind like Rashawn Gary. I think same draft class. Now that I'm thinking about it, but having someone of his skill set, of his stature, at that point when the Packers have not rested on their laurels. Like we kind of thought that their offensive line, like we just think of the kind of mid 2000s Packers, like they've always drafted really well, even picked up guys off the street. Like I think Mike Wall, like way back when he was a undrafted free agent when they got him. We just think of the Packers being this really strong offensive line academy, and they have done ways to get better or give them boosts in ways that like we don't associate them with just drafting guys. Yes.
You pulled Mike Wall out of your rear end.
Well,
Are
I'm
you
snapping the
kidding
ball.
me?
I'm snapping the ball
Are you
because it was always because he went to Air Force, correct?
Navy?
Navy. I knew it was one of those two.
He was the
He was a midshipman.
he was drafted in the '98 supplemental draft. I
Do
didn't
they
even
still
know.
do that?
No, I don't know. I didn't know they had supplemental drafts. How about that?
Um, but I just remember when he was like, I mean, he played for quite a long time with the Packers. It was
Yeah.
one of those things of like, where did this guy come from? It's like, oh yeah, they just got him off the street, or not. I shouldn't say off the street, but
Uh,
supplemental draft.
now I'm confused. There's only two players picked in the supplemental draft.
I think it's one of those things where if you're out, you can't like if you're out in the first round, you don't get a chance to jump back in. And the Packers probably were like, yeah, we'll be in and we'll take Mike Wall.
Yeah, interesting. Regardless, uh,
Um,
yeah,
you go.
I just think it's a really awesome opportunity to make this line very very good and like the high end of what EJ looks like as a center, as a guy that can point out coverages and point out blitzers and be the anchor is really really encouraging. Also, before we move on and before you talk again, who did the Packers draft in 1998 in the first round? Do you know?
98?
That's the defensive end. I bet you.
98.
I bet you Keith already knows. Shout out
It's
Keith.
not Jamal Reynolds. Jamal Reynolds would have been 2000 or 2001.
Just saying names, but go ahead.
I'm just trying to get the defensive end is throwing me off because it's not KGB
Nope. He played until 2012.
with the Packers.
No,
It's
I
not
don't think so.
Campman.
No, no, he was with the Packers for 5 years, and then went to Kansas City, Miami, Denver.
Ronnie Holiday.
Yep,
There we go.
there you go. Chocolate Thunder, according to Pro Football Reference.
Oh,
Dimitri Giovanni Holiday. But yeah, that's the EJ discussion.
oh, very interesting name.
Yeah. Um, Other than that, let's do a very light preview of the Jets game next Saturday. Jets Packers in New York, I believe.
Bum, bum,
We're a week out from
bum,
football.
bum, bum,
What are you doing?
bum,
What are you doing?
bum, 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 bum,
I
bum.
still don't know what you're doing. You're just making
The
noise.
Packers and the Jets.
Oh my god. Oh, I could not believe you. Ah, next Saturday in New York. Anything you're looking for in particular? Like, obviously it's preseason. The main guys won't play. Like, I'd be surprised if like
None of the ones should play.
right. Like, I don't even know if we'll see like Matthew Golden. You know, like I think it's probably be beneficial
Mm,
for him, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was like, nope, we don't want you to get hurt.
yeah, it's not a risk we're taking. It's again, I think it's more of like, let's see who of these kind of guys that are fighting for a roster spot, fighting for a job, who's going to stand out. Obviously, Nazir Stackhouse is the talk of the town, talk of the tundra, if you will, currently. But who's going to join him in that conversation? I think this is so what makes preseason games interminable because it's like, yeah, football's back. It's like, ah, oh, football's back. It's not the same. It's uncanny valley. Um, it's just not. It's still you want.
Trey Lance had 2 touchdowns the other night. Also, the Jets game's at home, not away.
Oh, it is at home.
Yep.
Good. What are your thoughts on the virtual measurement?
I think it's better than the chain gang. I think the way that they showcased it
Mm,
in the Hall of Fame game, I
they
think
really. Sorry.
I didn't watch the game, to be clear.
No, but
I
I saw the
saw the
clip of
clip.
them like, this is it.
I
Let's go.
I didn't even like watch the full clip in context, truthfully. I just saw like the video happen. And I think it might need some like work. It just looks kind of weird at right now. It looks
Yes.
weird. It looks fake. I think is my
Yes.
thing, as opposed to like the ABS in MLB, VAR in soccer. Uh, you don't have like something like this in NBA, but like the
Tennis.
tennis, like the
The
line
Hawkeye.
rule, right? Like that,
It
it looks a little like cleaner. I think they just need to
like
figure out,
implemented into the game.
yeah, and it just needs to be a little more. It needs some touching up, but if done right, I think we need to see it in practice to form an opinion on it because I think that like that's what's going to be important, right? Is that they need the ball, they need like a situation to happen where it's close to a first down, right? We watch the replay of like the actual play and we're like, yeah, the ball should be about right here with our eyes, right? But then they use the automatic measuring system or whatever they're calling it, and it like matches up with what we see with our eyes, you know? Like the nose of the football kind of thing is going to be a tough thing to do, especially like I saw someone say like they're a Falcons fan. The Falcons are going to be the one to lose by a pixel. Like it didn't cross that
Probably.
line. And so I think like that's where I wonder in practice how well it'll go. I think it's a move towards the right direction for the sole purpose of the
It's
the
2025 and we can't be measuring
with
footballs shapes.
with literally feet because the line judge or the side judge comes in from the sideline, does his best to run in a straight line and put his foot down where he saw the ball. Like that's not how that works. Like it's
No.
again, it's 2025. We shouldn't be doing it the same way we've done it the entire history of football. And so I'm optimistic that it'll work. Here's to hoping it does.
Yeah, it's just something that will clock because I feel like we'll see.
People will hate it initially
Yeah, it's
because
something new and it's change is terrible.
yeah,
That's how people regard it. But it just look the TV presentation of it and the overall like I just thought it was going to be a little bit more like baked in.
yeah, I agree. I agree. Um, but as for football, I'm curious to see if Emmanuel Wilson and Marshawn Lloyd play. Like that's I think
Mm.
the battle in camp right now is who gets running back two. I'd like to see Lucas Van Ness play because he needs the reps and he needs to showcase his ability. I'm curious to see how Baron Sorrell and Brenton Cox Jr. play as guys looking to back up edge rushers there. Um, the like fourth, fifth, sixth wide receiver battle is going to be fun, quote unquote fun, to see like how that shakes out because like obviously Matthew Golden, Jaden Reed, uh, Romeo Dobbs, and Dontayvion Wicks all have jobs, but like Savion Williams, Malik Heath, and company. Just need to see how that
McCall Hardman.
McCole Hardman.
Return specialist, that's another big one.
Yeah, so Sam Brown Jr. is a wide receiver. He's been like having some good moments in camp as like sort of the Malik Heath role, like wide receiver six, just making
Hmm.
good plays kind of thing. So, um, really curious how they rotate Anthony Belton and Jordan Morgan across the line if they play. Like, it'll be interesting just to see what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously corner. How does Bo Melton look at corner? Because I think he's going to get a lot of run at corner. Early
I,
returns is he looks really good in camp. So
yeah, well, I forgot about the Bo Melton thing. That actually might be the thing I'm most intrigued by. And I don't think we'll see him against Garrett Wilson, but
I don't think we'll see Garrett Wilson.
exactly. So I think we'll have to measure how good he looks, but the
Well, I
experiment
think
goes on.
that's the watermark, right? Is that we don't need him to we don't need to see what he looks like against Garrett Wilson. We need to see what he looks like against wide receiver threes and fours because
True. Yeah.
he's not
Yes.
playing in camp. He's not like training to be right quarterback one or two. He's
No.
training for to be a special like first special teamer in a depth piece at corner.
Yeah.
And so they can't just keep him for special teams because you just can't. That's a waste of a roster spot.
Dallin Levitt disagrees.
Sure. But they need a corner. They need help wherever they can find it. And if Beaumont can do it, that's a way for him to stick on the team and not have to go find a job somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, alrighty, folks. That does it for this episode, Talk of the Tundra. As I mentioned earlier, please go subscribe to the YouTube channel. We would appreciate it. Our quest to, at this point, 100 subs and then 500 and 1,000. So we'll be climbing our way up slowly but surely. Appreciate you guys listening. Go check out all things GSPN over at gspn.info. Check out Eurostep and 1-6 and Cruising for a Bruising as the Brewers are rolling right now, which is nice to see. So we'll be
They
back.
didn't do anything at the deadline.
It scared the bejesus out of me. Andrew and Adam have thoughts on the deadline if you want to go listen to them. So go check it out. Like I said, appreciate you guys listening. We'll be back in your podcast feed soon to talk about the Jets game and other NFL stuff before the season starts. So, Jordan, thank you.
Thank you.